One of the earliest remembrances of mine when I was an aspirant was this quote from Morris Jones that the Indian civil services is perhaps the only career in the world that combines a calling with an honor. A career that combines a calling with an honor. So that is what attracts the creme de la creme or the younger generation right from the birth of this nation to the civil services. The moment you join the service, you receive honor. But that honor will be lost if we do not have that sense of purpose, values, excellence, and integrity. So honor will come only from the second dimension. Mr. Wilfred David spoke about the first dimension for success, that is competence. You have to be a competent candidate to succeed in the whole three-stage selection process, which is itself quite grueling. But I endorse his view that anyone who participates in this process goes through transformation, whether he's finally selected or not. There's a transformation of the mind as well as a transformation of the purpose and character of the candidate as he goes through this minimum of 18 months process if he or she is a serious candidate. But to be successful as a civil servant, the second C, more important than competence, character. And character, the essence of character is integrity. One of the most classic definitions of integrity that I've heard in the recent past is integrity, if you have it, nothing else matters. If you don't have it, also nothing else matters. So that answers that query of one of the participants today's workshop who asked that only the corrupt, go up in the ladder in the civil service. So there is no point in occupying positions of prestige if one looks in the mirror and sees a thief in his own image. So one has to maintain this high sense of probity, high sense of integrity for one's own self-protection, for the protection of one's own image. That is the first aspect. So if you want to succeed as a civil servant, one has to make oneself so resilient, morally resilient, that you'll withstand both the pressures and temptations of office. Because the moment you enter any public office right through history, it becomes an opportunity for pelf, which means that you can convert power. Even a constable raises his hand, he could turn that power into a source of aggrandizement or gain for himself. So anyone in the government sector, by virtue of the authority vested, even at the lowest rungs. So imagine at the higher rungs, the rungs of the civils, the All India services, the IAS, the IPS, IFS, and so on, IRS, income tax service, enormous power is vested in young individuals who have probably just completed their undergrad, in few cases and most cases completed postgrad, or like Wilfred and I done a couple of years of work in some other domain, like I was working in the State Bank of India before I joined the IPS in 1987. So right from the word go, you will find there are temptations, and what the corrupt would view as opportunities are actually, great snares for those who have a sense of purpose and values. So one needs to prepare oneself, not just mentally, but I think MCC IAS Academy is one of the few academies in the country, among them so many which have sprung up in almost every nook and corner and every city, which is rightly focusing right from the word go, not just on competence, on competing to succeed as aspirants, but also succeed as a serving civil servant. And to sow the seeds of integrity right now, when they are not yet facing, the winds, the pressures, the high winds of the corridors of power. So the moment you enter the service and after the training is over, you're in the field, either as a sub-collector or as an assistant superintendent of police. And you are in command of both men, resources, and territory, subdivision. So roughly several lakh, 500,000, 5 lakh people, you are responsible for their, good governance. And you cannot have good governance without personal integrity, professional integrity. So there is a thin line which separates personal integrity and professional integrity. There are other kinds of integrity, financial integrity, and there's integrity, intellectual integrity. There are people I know who have been financially, they have been honest. But when it comes to aspiring for positions of higher power, where they have to curry the favor of the powers that be, they have compromised. They are absolutely sparkling clean otherwise. But that is also, smacking of a lack of integrity. So intellectual integrity is required, as well as financial integrity, personal integrity. A passion to serve should be there. To understand that we have come into the service, it is a service. It is not an opportunity to feather one's own nest. Of course, legitimate gains, we are all entitled to. Now the salary levels are quite, attractive, even compared with the private sector in the last decade or so. Not as it was when Wilfred and I first joined the service. The salary was something like 2,500. It was just enough to cover our mess bill when we were in training, and later on barely covered the needs when we are newly married. But now it is almost on par or better at the starting stages for managerial candidates in the private sector. So your needs will be met, but not greed. And that's what Wilfred also was emphasizing, that there is no limit to greed. And therefore, we must have these values of contentment right even before we start, that whatever is placed in our hands as our legitimate, wages of our labor, that we must learn to enjoy, to multiply it also, to invest it wisely and increase it to the, with providential, taking care of need for savings for future and all these things. So integrity is one of the chief qualities that will enable us actually to be a true civil servant. Without integrity, one cannot call oneself at all a civil servant. And it is true that the steel framework is now become more or less rusty old machinery, and that is why there is a need for new academies like the MCC IAS Academy to infuse again that old sense of idealism, the passion for values in the current crop of aspirants, so that when they enter the service, they will not crumble under pressure. You have to be very resilient, because all the time we are actually swimming against the tide. The political executive has its own agenda. But as Wilfred says, one has to be polite and respectful, follow the protocols, but be firm in taking stands. Many bureaucrats, police officers, by not taking a stand, by yielding to their own, blandishments, and also their own fear that they would be moved out of, what is considered good positions, they yield to these kind of pressures, and as a result, many have ended up even disgraced. So there is no point in coming into this service which combines the calling with an honor only to be disgraced in the course. And even, of course, honest officers will be punished off and on, punished within inverted commas, would be shunted to the sidelines. So even before I joined service, I understood, being a student of political science, I understood part of the system. And I said, I don't have to be always in the central positions. I may be sidelined often. But whatever position one is given, one should do one's best to keep it clean and to deliver services in the best possible way. Whatever mandate one is given, whatever job one is given, to be innovative, to do things which will serve the common needs, the needs of the common man, because that is the ultimate purpose. And that's why I started things like Friends of Police, because I found that when I was lying injured in the Rajiv Gandhi human bomb assassination, the 31st anniversary, which was celebrated only 2-3 days ago on the 21st, it was an ordinary human, an ordinary individual, a young boy with a torn shirt who kept my blood-stained face, my injured body in his lap. And as I was very thirsty and lost a lot of water, fluid, through bleeding, lying in the mud for half an hour at least before the injured were picked up, it is this young boy who gave me drops of water. And that led me to think of how to serve the common people, because the Constitution says not the government, but we, the people of India. And therefore, it is the people of India who are our ultimate masters. So integrity means ultimately serving the constituency of the people. And that is what will enable us to stick to that sense of purpose which Suresh referred to. All through, try to be a civil servant who serves people and not one who wants to be in prominent positions. So I think these are the basic thoughts that I have in mind. And, in the field, you'll find people would come and even be willing to give you packets of money. I remember in my first job as a SP in Dibawali, some people drove up to our house. I was not there. And they wanted to give packets of money because that is the custom, they said. But when they heard that we would not entertain such people, they just drove away, and they'll never make an attempt thereafter. And your reputation, integrity is such that your reputation will travel ahead of you. Any part of the country, they will know who, they don't see what you're doing, but your reputation, like, fine perfumes odor, will travel very far to the far corners of the country. And even we are always, being watched. And even if you're honest, there will be accusations. So that is why every day will be, walking an ordeal of being tested by fire. And even if you're strict, there will be accusations, anonymous petitions, and all these things. But if you have been living a transparent life, nobody can touch you. So it is our own insurance, but it is also our commitment to serve the nation, to serve the common people without any bias. So whatever be our faith, we must serve without any sense of partiality or favoritism. This is another important aspect of integrity. So integrity is what is going to make a difference. Once you succeed in being selected, it will make you a successful civil servant. There may be times when you are out in the dumps, you're deliberately put in side positions. Like I was posted twice in Avon by two separate regimes, two different regimes. Twice, I was the only officer twice posted to Police Training College, which I considered a great honor. And I used those times to further, develop myself and also develop my thought process and teach it to the police personnel as well as beyond police personnel, to prisoners, to villagers across the state in something known as social justice tea parties. So once you have a good intention, automatically you will get creative ideas to serve the people better. And this public service gives us an immense opportunity which no career can give. You can join a corporate and, you can add up the numbers at the end of the year before the financial, quarter, but you will not be able to impact people the way civil servants continue to do. Honest, civil servants who are committed to serving the public, who make an impact in different ways in different parts of the country. So I wish that all of you fall into this category and build up your moral fiber and mentally play out scenarios, because even ethics is a paper. Because the lack of ethics in public service, I think they found it fit to introduce a ethics paper in the UPSC. But by just introducing an ethics paper, you will not get more ethics into aspirants. There is a need for people to have self-chosen, self-enabling beliefs and principles, and integrity means walking in consistency with those self-chosen beliefs and principles, in alignment with what we think is right. And what other people comment, it doesn't matter. They may think you're eccentric, you're off the track, and that you will not fit into the system. There may be all kinds of views, but your self-belief. So 1% with a conviction is equal to 1,000 with only opinions. So I believe that the MCC Academy will prepare such people who are not only competent, but who are fully prepared in terms of integrity and character. Wish you all the best. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you.